Most people don't reject God. What they reject is a version of God that isn't even real. A harsh God, a distant God, a God waiting for you to mess up. But when you actually look at Jesus Christ, everything changes. In the book of John, chapter 8, there's a story where a woman is caught in sin and then she is dragged in front of a crowd. And they say, stone her. Now, if your view on God is harsh, you expect Jesus to agree. But he doesn't. Look what he does instead. So, when they continued asking him, he raised himself up and said to them, "He who is without sin among you, let him throw a stone at her first." And after Jesus said that, one by one, they started to walk away. And then Jesus looked at the woman that was caught in adultery, and he said to her, "Neither do I condemn you. Go and sin no more." Did you catch that? You notice how Jesus, he did not ignore the sin, but he also did not destroy the sinner. And that, my friend, is where most people misunderstand God. They think God, he either accepts everything or he rejects you completely. But Jesus shows both. He shows grace and truth. Here's deep unlock number 1, and that is that God doesn't expose you to shame you, but to save you. That is the first deep truth. God doesn't expose your sin to, humiliate you, but he does it to heal you. That woman thought it was the end, but it became her encounter with Jesus. And some of you may feel exposed right now, convicted, uncomfortable, but that is not God pushing you away. My friend, that is God pulling you closer to him. Now let's go a little bit deeper. In the book of Luke, chapter 10, Jesus visits Martha and Mary. Martha is busy. She is serving, working, doing everything right. But Mary, she's just sitting at Jesus's feet. And Martha gets frustrated. So Jesus responds like this. And Jesus answered and said to her, "Martha, Martha, you are worried and troubled about many things, but one thing is needed, and Mary has chosen that good part, which will not be taken away from her." Mary has chosen that good part. Don't miss this. Martha wasn't, doing something bad. Martha was just, missing something better. And that leads on to deep unlock number 2, and that is that you can serve God and still miss God. Here's the second deep truth, my friend. You can be busy for God and you can still ultimately be distant from him. And that is where people misunderstand him. You see, they think, if I do more for God, God will be more pleased. But Jesus simply says, I don't want your work. I just want you. And some of you are exhausted, not because God is asking too much, but rather because you're trying, to earn what is ultimately already given to you from him freely. Now let's go to one of the clearest pictures of God's heart. In Luke chapter 15, the prodigal son leaves, his father, wastes everything, ends up broken, and he thinks, I will go back and maybe I can be a servant. But when the prodigal son returns, check out what happens. And he arose and came to his father. But when he was still a great way off, his father saw him and had compassion and ran and fell on his neck and kissed him. You catch that? The father ran to him. That wasn't normal. Fathers, didn't run like that, but God does. You see, he doesn't wait for you to fix yourself. No, he runs to you while you're still messy. And that leads to deep unlock number 3, which is that God is not trying to keep you out. If anything, God is calling you home. That's the third deep truth. You see, God is not trying to keep you out. He's calling you back. See, sadly, including myself, most people think, I'll come to God when I'm better. But the gospel says, come as you are and let him change you. So let's end this off with a hope and call to action. And listen, my friend, if you've misunderstood God before, and a lot of people have, but Jesus makes it clear, God is not just holy, he is also merciful, not just, but loving. But God demonstrates his own love towards us, and that while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. So stop running and stop hiding. Turn away from, the sin and run to Jesus Christ, because, my friend, the God you thought you knew might be better than you have ever imagined.